All right. Welcome to Vlog Thursday, episode 84. Should be working. All right. I think I'm live. I think I have it. Let me test the volume, make sure I got audio. Do I hear myself is the big question, of course.
All right.
I always like to make sure.
Welcome
to
Vlog Thursday, episode
All right. I got audio.
84.
I'm not going to make it repeat. Yes, we're going to talk about MSP stuff. So that's why I brought this up today. And it's just one of those questions that everyone seems to have all the time. What software do we run? What software do you run? I've done a video on what software I run, which mostly hasn't changed. But, hey, why not? I figured go over it again because it's an important thing. And this is where I did that video the other day, and I'm going to do some more about starting an IT services company. And you can get caught up in this whole analysis paralysis of things that need to be done and what software do I use, what software to use. And matter of fact, whenever I'm in the chat on Facebook and some of the peer groups for MSPs, it is the most discussed topic and the most argued topic as well. And one of the things that's important about this is I see other people chiming in or using SolarWinds. When you look at some of the surveys, there's not a ton of companies out there that are big and well-developed in this market. And there's a good reason. This is a very, very tough market from a software development standpoint. And SolarWinds is one of the big guys and big players in this. The other one is going to be, and I'll pull it up real quick. There we go. There's two pieces to this. So ConnectWise, they're really popular as well. They have a very thorough big platform. We don't use them. I have nothing bad to say about ConnectWise. It's a big product. A lot of big companies use it. And I say big companies because you'll find in the market, like I said, you're going to find a lot of SolarWinds. You're going to find a lot of ConnectWise. Once you get to the big MSPs, this is pretty much the two guys that are the big players in it. I know there's a few other people that do I think it's Kaseya. I've ranted about them and security problems they had. They kind of lost my trust for it, and I've seen someone with the dumbest answers of, name a product that hasn't had a security flaw. I'm like, well, sure, we can talk about security flaws, but when a company has 3 of them, then I'm kind of down on that company a little bit. So, but that being said, ConnectWise Control is a piece we use. So this was called Screen Connect previously, and even though we have the whole SolarWinds MSP system, we do use the ConnectWise control system. And the Connect, Vince I see here mentioning he's been with them since they were GFI Max Focus, and they've changed names a few times. They used to be Hound Dog before that. So there's so many name changes because SolarWinds is an interesting company. They do a lot of acquisitions. Their tool set is actually a series of acquisitions of other companies. So a lot of people came into the SolarWinds fold like we did by already being a user of what was then GFI and getting it wrapped into SolarWinds when they purchased it. So yeah, some people may remember it from back when then and say, oh, it's not the same as it used to be. But they've really done a solid job of integration, almost creating the single sign-on. That's still something we're waiting on and things like that. So that's a whole piece of it that we're definitely interested in, is how they've pulled it all together. And we've been using it ever since. Now that includes the backup system from them. So the product that we really use is the SolarWinds RMM tool and the SolarWinds backup tool. And a lot of people are like, well, I can save money if I use Datto or one of those other companies. And I'm familiar with Datto. I don't have any problem with their product. I don't know of any particular problem. I don't use it. But it's one of those things, this is an integrated solution. And something really important, and this came up for myself today. We were ranting because it's end of month end. I was paying the bills and going over stupid problems I had with bill payment systems and my insurance. It's broken down across several different pieces of insurance that we need to have. And I'm like, it's almost like I want to manage insurance provider so I don't have to dig through all the different, how much is my insurance bill? It's an accumulation of all these little bills. it's simplification of having everything in, so to speak, one platform that I can do it all, which is kind of why I keep the SolarWinds backup, because it ties right to the SolarWinds desktop. I can see from, that dream goal of one pane of glass, as they say, to be able to see all of it. But that is really nice. It is a nice feature for that. Now, like I said, ConnectWise is also a similar tool that competes with them. They incorporate a lot of different, they have their selling module, billing management module and things like that. And they kind of glue a lot together. They have some other ones on there. They also have, we're not using it, but they got like mail protection archive and a ticketing system, but we're not using that piece of them. That is where we get back into our Invoice Ninja, because not 100% of what we do is manage clients. So that's a lot of the reason we use ConnectWise Control. Not everything's about managed clients with us, because we do a lot of one-off work. And one-off work is essentially, configuring firewalls, FreeNAS systems, and everything else. And all those kind of one-offs that pop up, we just did one the other day. We set a firewall up and a VPN for business. And, they found us from YouTube, found the PFSense. They had some configuration challenges and wanted us to go through them all. They're not interested really in manage. They have a technical team that does manage things for them, but they don't have an expertise in setting a VPN, so they contract us for that, and that's perfectly fine. And when we're done, they have control of the VPN. Once it's set up, it's pretty easy to maintain. Load the updates, load the patches as they come through. So it's a really nice being able to do those one-offs, and this makes it kind of easy. Not everyone for our market. Now, some companies, and I know a couple of them like this, they said, hey, we get really successful when we niche down and we exclusively do managed clients, no one-offs, that way everything's predictable. And that's cool if that's what you want to do. That's just not a business model that I have as much interest in. Making sure clients are HIPAA compliant. Good luck. That is... clients, we deal with a lot of them. HIPAA compliance is not a bad goal, but a lot of companies have papers laying over things and stuff like that. From an IT standpoint, getting HIPAA compliant, a lot of checkboxes. Don't put things in emails, but man, it gets to be a pain doing the physical layer of HIPAA compliance. And for those of you that don't know or didn't notice the photo that is the vlog, I'm going to drag it over here because you're going to laugh. We're talking about HIPAA compliance here, so that goes right into keep locked at all times. I happen to be, I had to go take my daughter to get her shots, and they just set you down in the room, keep locked at all times, but there's the key just left in it. And the door was open, so anyone could walk by and get in here to this little cabinet that's supposed to be locked at all times. Compliance is really hard. And yeah, great, we put a sticker. This was the good intention sticker, and then they're like, yeah, but it's a lot of trouble to keep unlocking it. So we do lock it, but then we leave the key in it. So that's where that picture came from. And this is medical stuff, and I just kind of laughed. I'm like, keep locked at all times. Got it. So for people asking me to do a podcast, we already do the SMLR podcast, and I will be doing I'm looking at some easy way to syndicate this into a podcast. All you have to do is put it in the background. That's kind of the easy solution, because you can play things in the background as a podcast. But for those of you that actually want it as a syndicated podcast, I think there's some options for like Blurberry, if you haven't heard of them before. Podcast. There we go, Blurberry. I'm going to see if I could sign up for them to have auto convert. I'm trying to find something automatic because I have a lot to do. So that's definitely on my to-do list to make this easy to syndicate as a podcast. That way I can just direct people to it on there. But the big problem is, like, I'm talking about things right now, this doesn't translate well to a podcast because you lose all the visual fun of this particular episode. So I don't know. Will it still translate over? It'll be like, well, this one's visual. I'll leave it as a podcast, but you're going to have to go ahead and also watch it if you want the humor in leaving the keys in there. But that's kind of it for the software. Like, it's a SolarWinds for the RMM tool, and this is like something people struggle with. Now, next question you're going to ask is like, well, if you're using the SolarWinds RMM tool, well, what are you using for antivirus? Well, that's where SolarWinds takes care of that too. Remote monitoring, remote access, active discovery, automation and scripting, patch management, reports. backup and recovery. This ties into the other tab I have open for them. Managed antivirus and web protection. This is an important feature here. So when you buy the SolarWinds, back to that whole entire stack here, they are now including, and I've done reviews on a SolarWinds product before, they're including the antivirus and the licensing for it. And that's really important because now whenever we add it, I just sent a quote over to a client for more managed services. I know what they wanted. They wanted antivirus. They wanted the full protection. No, they didn't want to take out any piece of it, which is great. And I got a template for that. I send over the template for the quote. It really, really simple, and wham, away we go. And now we have the antivirus on there, and the billing comes with it. So we add 7 more computers, which is, small insurance office, 7 more computers, managed computers, 7 times the amount, boom. I don't need to check licenses. It's all inclusive. They'll just add it to my bill. I don't have to chase down buying a bunch of antivirus licenses or anything like that. So, yeah. It's just pretty cool. It works really well, and it's just nice because it's one dashboard for all the things. I know I could probably piece this apart and save a few dollars, but the reality is when I look at my bills each month, when I'm paying the bills, because that's what I was just doing before here, and I make sure all my whatever I owe people is all paid and organized, this is not the bill this is not the money category that means as much as the other ones. When you look at the overall aggregate money coming into and leaving this business, this isn't it. This doesn't even cost as much as an employee, I don't think, because payroll is way the hell higher than this. Taxes are almost higher than this. So, yeah, it's just there. They're using Bitdefender right now. We're using Viper. We've been moving everything over to Bitdefender, and it seems to be working better for the SolarWinds. I like it. It's a nice system. We still tell people when you're dealing with the consumer level of this that just go ahead and do, Windows Defender. I actually think Windows Defender works rather well. Whatever it's called. I'm calling it Defender. I know I'm calling it the wrong thing, but the built-in antivirus into Windows 10. But, that's kind of the thing. Like that works, and yeah. But when we want to manage it, when we're babysitting it and we're doing it, we use the Bitdefender one that comes with the SolarWinds MSP. And then, of course, they have the web protection, which does the threat protection, bandwidth monitoring, access controls, blacklisting sites, time-based browsing policies, customer-facing messages, individual site blocking, so we can create categories and block things on there to keep people safe. This is kind of cool, too. They also offer risk intelligence, back to our HIPAA talk a little bit earlier, so you can manage what personal information is exposed, satisfy components of PCI, DSS, HIPAA, and other compliance. This helps because you can use this to create reports and figure out where people are saving things that they really shouldn't. It'll scan through documents and make you pull your hair out of why did someone save a credit card number inside of this or whatever else. So, yeah. TeamViewer, no, we don't use TeamViewer at all. We use MSP Anywhere, which is built into SolarWinds. We don't use it very often because we have the ConnectWise control system. So we're not always using, they do have the remote access tool here, which I think the company was called MSP Anywhere previously. Let me actually look that up. MSP, yeah, there we go. And now it's a SolarWinds company. So SolarWinds MSP Anywhere. It used to be like MSPAnywhere.com, another acquisition by SolarWinds. And this is now the included system that they have for that. So this is one of the options you can do. And it's a pretty slick system. It seems to work fine. I don't think it works as well, in my opinion, as the ConnectWise control, but we do include this, and it's another convenient way that we can launch and take remote access to machines, and it works rather well. Tom, is it possible to do a video about pfSense being used as an open VPN server only? The pfSense box already runs on the local LAN and has only one LAN interface. pfSense, well, I guess I could do one. I don't know the point if you have a pfSense but you don't want to use it as your router. The problem is if you don't use pfSense as your router, you have routing issues when you do a VPN. So you have to then go into whatever firewall and make sure there are routes to point back to that to be able to make it work properly. So, Yeah, I don't know. Here's the problem when I do a video like that, and I try to make something like, here's a complete process. I have to say things like, well, you have to add the routes back to the VPN as other route options in whatever firewall. And I can't think of too many use cases I have where I'm going to put a PF Sense box in and it's only going to be a VPN, but it's not going to be the head end of the firewall. You may as well just run OpenVPN on a Linux box at that point. It would probably make more sense to do that. So just maybe I'll do a video on it. I don't see a huge demand of people wanting to do that. And pretty much you could go ahead and just load it, follow everything about my VPN tutorial, port map through a VPN, it'll work. There's nothing, it's the same VPN tutorial if you just want to do a port map through of the whatever port you use for OpenVPN. So not likely, I don't see a high demand on that particular request. Now what we are going to be doing is some videos on VPN for UniFi. We have a few of those set up, so those videos are coming. It's just one of those, it's going to be soon. We have been wonderfully busy. It's a good thing. The downside about being this busy is we don't have time for some of the fun stuff. That's why you haven't seen as many videos coming out, is I just really haven't had the time. That's one of the reasons we're hiring another technician. So that's going to help alleviate that, and we're maybe even another hire coming after that, depending on if this level of business comes up. And some of this is coming from YouTube. We've been taking on a lot of projects and doing stuff. So we're going to have to kind of play that. It's like I said about business before, it's a real-time strategy game, and there's always this balancing act. There's this much coming in, I can put this much out towards payroll. I don't want to hire another person unless I know we have a consistent business coming in for them, and it's always a balancing and juggling act. So hi Tom, is it a good idea to start an IT business in the New England area if I completed vocational IT and it was my highest class? I have no idea, because I will tell you this, though. I will repeat this, and I've said this many times. Just because you're good at being a technician doesn't make you good at running a business. I've learned a lot of this the hard way, and that is a major issue starting a business. There's so much business stuff that you might be better off having a job. It may be better for you mentally. It may be better for you financially. Even I joke around, but I've had friends who sold their business, and I have friends who are like, why would I start an IT company? I make $200,000 a year working in IT. And what? So you can potentially make more, build up the entire business. You have to be super social, run out and get all the contracts, do all the work and things like that. It's one of those things, like, you have to kind of make a decision. If this is what you want to do, there's so much business admin stuff and dealing with people and everything else, whether or not you want to do that. So it's not necessarily just because you're good at IT, you should start an IT business. That's probably the least good reason to do it, to be honest with you. Anyways. So let me read a couple more here. PFS versus 48 versus sign versus auto updates versus paying out to updating your clients. PSS firewall. I don't understand the question. At least take a crash course in business. That's not a bad idea. Get an MBA. Read through some books on it. I do not have anybody using Azure Active Directory as a controller right now. I don't know if I want to look more into it, because I think it's kind of cool. But the other side of it is, that is, so many of our clients don't care. This is how. It's a weird market we're in, and this is why we're doing a lot more of the YouTube advertising, because I kind of like that clientele better. And when I talk about, and we'll just, why not? We'll visually bring some of these things up. When I talk about our area and things like that, you see these larger buildings, and you're like, hey, look, this must be a good place. This must be a place. Protrans, Dayton Freight, these are large distribution centers. These are all trucks and docks and big companies. There's no technology in these. Matter of fact, right there's one of our clients. They run this big bus company out of here. There's 4 computers. There's no domain controller. They don't even have a server because they don't need it. So it's hard to talk these people into, oh, pay this much month per Active Directory and management and everything else on there. Why? They don't have a good reason. They only have a few employees managing computers because that's the way a lot of this manufacturing stuff works. And like I said, this is the buildings around us. Transportation is huge around us. And so we just don't have a lot of them that have Active Directory at all. Matter of fact, one of the clients we have is one of the largest trailer manufacturers in the Midwest. They're a huge factory that produces trailers. They don't have a domain controller. They run their entire company on an old AS400 system. Poof. Think about that for a minute. And you're sitting here run around thinking about technology, and I'm like, this company is big, makes money, and does not have any of that stuff. So we don't really have a lot of them in it. So let's see. Don't leave remote port open for management. Probably not. Filter it if you have a remote port. At what point do you think a business needs a server or Active Directory? I think it needs an Active Directory when you need a bunch of managed users and things like that. Now, we do see it in a doctor's office and the professional services offices. We do have them. They usually have one basic domain controller physically on site to do some file sharing, and it's central management. That way people can log in and do stuff. So there's that. I mean, there's a time to need it when you need that user level management, a common file share, and cool. That's a nice system that works and things like that. So there are times that you need it, but it's sometimes a hard pitch for on these smaller companies that have been used to doing it without it, and to try to say, hey, you guys need this now. So that's yeah, I don't know. We don't force it upon them because sometimes you're adding more complexity for them who go, hey, we share 2 computers in a QuickBooks file to run our $20 million a year company. Yes, we have a client that does that. They're a big company that employs a large staff that has 2 computers in one shared QuickBooks file. That's it. That's their entire company. There's a lot of that out there. So we're not going to, we could sell them Active Directory and a server. It's kind of a hard pitch because they'd say, why? You know, Barb does the entry of invoices and Sam does the other side of it, and that's it. So what manage the 2 users on Active Directory? So let's see. Do you think there'll be a time that all of your business will come from YouTube? Yes and no. We've been in business for 15 years. So at present we have about 300 businesses we're doing IT for and more all the time. I don't know. I say 300. I haven't looked in a while. I know it's more than that because I don't look all the time. And then when it comes to the retail, we have another 6,700 or something like that. And so I don't know that it will come ever only from YouTube. We're not. It would only do that way if we decided for some reason to stop providing local business services. I don't plan to stop doing it all. We have no problems providing IT services for local businesses. So as long as they're calling us, we'll keep doing it. We haven't been spending much money on marketing at all. So that just makes our margin better because all these companies are spending all these money on sales. We're growing it organically now because we don't have a salesperson anymore. I haven't bought any ads this year at all. I've spent my marketing budget for ads has been $0 this year. So it's just people picking up the phone and calling us, word of mouth, because we have so many businesses. And I'm kind of fine to keep it that way because it's been really solid, good referrals. And then it's been the way I like growing the business. Because one of the problems I've had when you start chasing sales down is they're not necessarily a good fit. They were someone your sales guy was able to find, and you have to try and filter them out if they're a good fit. And sometimes they're a bunch of, in the ads, more than anything else, for example, brought in the price shoppers. Can you do it for cheaper? Can you do it for cheaper? No. Or I start the conversation like, oh, this is what our current IT company charges. Isn't that ridiculous? I'm like, we would charge you more. And they're like, oh, well, and that was a problem with a lot of the leads we would get from a lot of these ads is they were price shopping people. And I want people who care about the quality of service, care about what we can provide for them. And saying that I think this IT guy is ridiculous, I look at the bill, I'm like, they're half of what we would charge. No wonder they don't answer the phone or show up. I'm like, you can't make money doing it for that cheap. You know, I have a guy that one of the guys was charging $25 for on-site service calls. I'm like, good luck. We don't leave the building for less than $150. So you thought he was ridiculous. It's a very different thing. So I don't know that we'll ever get it completely to YouTube, but yeah. For those of you wondering what I'm using here, when I keep fiddling around with it, I love when it does the whole Inception thing, so I'll do this for a minute because it entertains me. But yes, I'm using OBS on my Linux machine to do this. And now you're actually going to get probably a delay. I don't know how that works. It's going to look cool, though. That's what matters. So yes, I do use OBS for streaming. Let's see. 5:46 a.m. Australia. I wake up at 5 a.m. every day, so I'm with you. I don't really watch many live streams, but I can, so thank you for being awake and watching us with your morning coffee or whatever you guys have down there in Australia. Let's see. It does have Unisupport. Can't beat word of mouth. We would charge you more. Yeah, that's definitely 747 East Coast. Go down for your managed client. Yes, we do charge. We do charge them less when they're on managed. Managed clients get preferential treatment. Managed clients given priority. We rarely. The thing is, once we clean up and put someone on a managed client, it becomes almost boring because once you've put it all in right and you've replaced everything for them, they don't have a lot of problems anymore, which is great for them and for you, but they do become almost a boring client because we're doing so much predictive maintenance on there. So, yeah. Hey, $300 a minute? Dude, if you can get it, awesome. So, $300 a minute, I like that. Yeah, I'm an early riser for sure. So, let's see. Strange weather down there. Cool, cool, cool. White Rose, very nice. Yeah, we give discounts to our managed people, and my managed service plan is actually pretty simple. I don't overcomplicate things. Maybe it'll get more complicated over time, but my current plans are pretty much what we include in terms of service is pretty much the monitoring, patch management, RMM, web filtering, antivirus, and then we throw in for the monthly fee per computer. We've been still doing it per computer. There's go on a rant and debate that you should do it per user. Maybe we'll have some clients that are interested in that. We've been doing it per computer, but most all of our clients are one-to-one. Each person has one computer, so it's there. Well, I take exception. There is a couple trucking companies that use an afternoon shift that uses the same computer with all the same login information. So they're not really, because everyone logs in as a dispatcher, so they're not really. It's not as big of a deal to have all the per user charges. Before I digress too far, with those monthly fees, what we're offering is any problem solved in less than 15 minutes are free. And we do this, and I call it a hybrid approach. Instead of being 100% all-inclusive, we'll do and solve every IT possible problem. We do project billing when there's a project. And let me turn it off. I didn't turn my phone off, so let me do that now. We do project billing when there's a project, and then we do per computer per month, kind of a minimal fee, which can include your antivirus updates, patch management, like I said, and then anything major that goes on with the computer, no problem. That would be billable. When there's not billable, you end up paying a smaller monthly fee, and this kind of keeps everybody happy. They don't pay too much per month for all their IT service needs because we're focusing on a small business market, and they're not paying this massive bill. But we're still making income. We're still keeping an eye on their computers, and everything is working well for them. So that's kind of the gist of how I do it. I thought about putting together maybe a video on how we do it. There's so many ways you can do this. And also, if you work in the higher end professional service market, this is where the market changes and it's a little bit different. And let me lay this scenario for you, because you can say, let's say you're charging $150 or $200 even. I've seen some of these really high fees where you sell them everything. So for each employee they have, you have a flat rate fee of, let's say, $200 or $225 per month per user that works at that place. And then, 10 users, so you get a few $1,000s a month out of them. And that's cool for some of the all-inclusive ones. But when you hit a small business with it, they say it's a lot. But when you're dealing with a professional services company, if they're already paying each employee $80,000, $90,000 a year in wages, adding another couple $100s a month to that employee wasn't that substantial. So they look at it from an HR perspective. So that's how you can sell some of those companies, but they also have higher priced employees that they can easily rationalize giving you that few $100s a month per each employee when you're doing it. So it depends on the market you're going after of how much you can charge in there. Back to us doing the smaller businesses, it's really hard to get that. Most of the small businesses are not paying all their staff as much. And there's a big pushback we're seeing. We've taken over a few clients that they were on fully managed MSP and they were really unhappy with the service they got. And there's a few local managed service providers that were charging the full rate price, doing a bad job. And it's not just one. There's a list of these companies in the area. And they've given MSPs a bad name. They're like, look, we'll inclusively take care of it. And I've been paying you guys, $8,000 a month for the last year. Ain't flying no more because you guys suck. And we've seen that from some of these ITs. And we're doing it at such a smaller rate. They're more willing because they say, okay, you seem to have a better balance on there. So we've been taking over more companies like that. They've been very happy. Are we making that big money? No. But it cumulatively adds up, and then we get project billing from them, so it still works out really well. Like one of the projects is usually replacing their computers and upgrading, and we get to send them a bill whenever there's computer upgrades to do, and then we go back to a smaller recurring billing per month. It's a model that seems to work for us. I mean, we're doing well, we're profitable, which is of course the most important part of all of this stuff. And in the end, when you're looking at it, are you making money after you put all these fees into all this software and all these things, and I pay payroll and everything? Are you making any money at all this? That's that kind of question you have to ask yourself at the end. And it's back to the business thoughts of looking at it. And this is way off topic from IT, if you didn't notice. So for those of you who want to talk about VPNs, this is the business side I'm talking about. And these are things you have to think about if you want to actually run an IT company, run a business. So all these little, things to play and things to think about. And medium-sized businesses are more apt for this. We're also seeing medium-sized businesses go in-house with IT. So this is a big thing. I've known a couple people. I've seen one of them that just talked. He just lost some huge revenue to the point where he's going to be laying off some of his staff because a company that he didn't think would ever go this way has now internalized it. They got bought up by another company, though, at the same time. So it's kind of a combination. They got bought, and everything's going internal. Everything's becoming a conglomerate, and it's all these medical offices going together to be one piece now. Well, that's it, and it's a risk you have. The sales cycle for that is very difficult. I know people who work in enterprise sales. It's a challenging, tough market because you're bidding on $1 million a year options and things like that. And next thing you know, you lost it, and you better get a new one real quick because you're not the sales guy very long if you can't land that next $1 million one. It's a cool market. It's more schmoozing with people than I have any interest in doing, to be honest with you. There's one thing that bothers me sometimes about business. It's who you know matters way more than I think any entrepreneur book ever puts any faith in. I loathe, and I spent some time and there was some ranting, and I'll actually pull up on Reddit because I think this is funny. So, oops. There it is, Reddit Entrepreneur. So this made me laugh right here in Reddit. So this right here is exactly what I see in so many things. Like, you can be an entrepreneur. All you need to do is do this or do this, and blah, blah, blah. And it's a good rant on Reddit if you haven't seen this before. I know I can't link it in here, but it's in the, I can actually type it like this. So, yeah, Reddit Entrepreneur, that's where I'm at right now. But it's just funny because this person's ranting because there's so many of these people that try to convince you that the entrepreneur lifestyle is where it's at. Oh, yeah, man, we all just should be entrepreneurs and you should have your business and blah, blah, blah. And they've tried to glamorize it and not talk about how hard it is building a business. And it's just, it's such an annoyance that there's like every business help book, self-help book that tries to convince everyone should be an entrepreneur. You should just be running your own business. It's like this American dream. And for some people, it's a great idea, but it's not an idea for everybody. There's a more chilling post in here. Actually, if I sort by top, I'll pull it up. And this is the real thing. I thought this was really good. Yeah, how I bootstrapped from 0 to 79,000 in monthly recurring revenue in 90 days at age 22. I bet that's a bunch of BS. Free startup resources, blah, blah, blah. Past month. How I escaped the rat race. One of these people had here, maybe it's in the last week, I've seen it. Yeah, here we go. Read the title. A warning for readers that may be dealing with trauma or addiction. As material in the post may trigger you, please proceed with caution. So please proceed with caution. I'm not going to read it out loud here. How an entrepreneur ended up homeless and addicted to fentanyl. That is the story that probably should be told a little bit more, a little bit more often. It's a real thing. Burnout, getting crazy, the stress that can come with starting it, the stress that can come with making payroll or whatever. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. It's not easy. I made probably still a lot more money in the private sector. I mean, I did really well in the private sector, and I just decided to try my own business thing because I like doing 20 different things at once, and it seems to suit me. I've found some good success with it, but it doesn't. I'm not trying to discourage it for any competitive reasons. I just want people to be very realistic that there's a lot of luck that goes into it. Like, hey, how'd you get this one job for this much money or that job? I'm like, one of the most random things to me is we have a company that spent $200,000 with us because they seen a picture on a ladder. And I'm looking it up right now. This company, and it's just kind of funny, I had no idea. I met this person at a Chamber of Commerce event. And it's just complete happenstance. So I can't even tell you, other than the fact that I was ready to say yes. There is an important preparatory amount of work so I could actually say yes to do there. And I had posted a photo of Corey standing on a ladder and looking down, I don't know, something stupid, and we were doing a wiring job together. So I'm there, I'm on site, I was holding the ladder for him while he did something way up there, and I took a picture of some of the cables and wiring that were dangling down. The person commented that I met from the chamber and friend requested them. Hey, and I honestly didn't really know what they did in a chamber. Something with car dealerships. They worked in the marketing department. I didn't really know exactly her title. She seemed pleasant. And when this happened, she said, yeah, you guys do the wiring things, is how she worded it. I said, yes, is the reply. She goes, oh, my brother needs some wiring done. Cool, your brother needs some wiring done. We can help your brother do the wiring thing. So back and forth with this, and that's cool. Well, it turns out the first job for them was $38,000, the first job. And this all just because I posted a picture on Facebook. I can't tell you a business strategy of how to make that work as a repeatable, marketable thing. I will tell you that it worked for us. And then her brother happened to be the guy in charge of 3 dealerships. Well, then his friend owns 3 more. Then he referred them, and now we've got this, and it's been a much bigger one because after we had these dealerships, a company out of state bought all of the dealerships we were working with and then is doubling down on investment saying, you're the wiring guys? Well, we need all these buildings rewired. And now we're doing even more business within the other dealerships as they acquire them in the area. They like us. We've always done good work for them. They don't feel like shopping it around. They're a privately held company. There's not much of a bid process. They literally just say, whoever the bill is, send it to us and we'll pay it. And we do. We never overcharged them. We've got established rates with them. And it's just, hey, put in 200 cables at this location, 50 at this one. It just works out for us. So that's the hard part about business, that it's like, oh, yeah, I like to tell you I'm some incredible entrepreneur who built this big company. But then again, I'm also like, I was the guy that posted a photo and someone says, you do the wiring thing, right? Yeah. And I just want to be very honest with that. And that's a big part of the entrepreneurship that's really good, and it's word of mouth. And once again, this becomes exponential. Once you have hundreds of businesses you're doing IT work for, and you're doing it right, you're not the hated guy, by the way, because word spreads fast that way too. You can always keep expanding out from there. See, many weeks of burnout in my life, still opening the doors, still want to keep going and love it. Yes, that's how I feel sometimes. If you do work and you ask them to do it as well, yes. if there are any DSLs that block streaming sites like YouTube, Spotify, MPF Blocker, you could just add them to the blacklist for the DNSPL. So you can just block them and away you go. So that works out well for that. Nonprofit clients are 80% of the clientele these days, and it's super rewarding. Yeah, nonprofits. We do some of the nonprofits. We're doing one. We just finished one yesterday. We just finished a new building for a company that focuses on education and stuff. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. Luck is finding clients at the right place and the right time. I'm not gonna say there's no hard work in this, and it's all just dumb luck. Dumb luck plays, a lot of things inside of it. You also be able to have the ability to say yes and deliver on that request someone gave you. So there's a lot of preparation. But problem is, I feel bad for people who do everything right in business and still fail. They had all the preparation done. They had the funding. They never had the luck of posting a picture on Facebook. But yeah, that's part of it. So it's just one of those things. Yeah. Could you go over how SolarWinds would work for a small business for either remote, on-site, or backup, or any other solution you recommend? Solar, I guess I don't understand the question as well. I have a whole video on how SolarWinds works, so there's that. So I do demo how the product works, and if you just search SolarWinds on my YouTube channel, you'll be able to find it. So that's definitely an answer on there. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. Yes, I will definitely. Yes, it is. Where's internet system that failed that you fixed? I don't know. There's a lot of them. Let me pull up something over here, though. Invoice Ninja, which we'll discuss briefly here. Allegedly, people can listen to keyboards and figure out passwords. I heard that. I don't know if it's true or not. So you guys heard me type my password. We're still using, this is the demo one. You can't have my real Invoice Ninja, by the way. But this is the demo one here that I have an account set up with for their hosted system. And we're still using it. People said we'll use it back in. PayPal. PayPal's simple and easy, and we do our banking with them, and my credit cards are with them. So doing the PayPal works really, really well. So that's definitely it's just nice. Invoice Ninja does our recurring invoices. It's just so simple when you're doing some of this stuff. Like you want to create a recurring invoice, put your product list in there, whatever it is. Create the recurring. This is an ugly template. Ours look way nicer. But yeah, it's a nice system. We do all of our quotes and everything and I have a lot of demos on this product. I'm really happy with it. It works great. So for those of you wanting another piece of the software, you run this one right here. So help desk and QB Online. I'm not a big QuickBooks fan. I don't really care as much for QuickBooks. It's just bloated and big and pain in the butt to me. So DDoS protection. So I didn't know GD, as far as I know, hold on, we'll actually look this up because someone asked this. So for those of you wondering, they have GDR compliance in Invoice Ninja. So the person who mentioned it, you wish they have their compliance information here. So they also, one of the things they added was ability to purge data, cancellation, deletion, erase, and purge. So they are GDR compliant now, for those of you wondering. DDoS protection, Cloudflare. So we'll go on from there. Blocking streaming social media sites for business. So many stories IT blocking them. Some higher up made yeah, it's an issue. My insurance policy is $1.5 million, I think. So I don't think that should be fine. We haven't really had any issues. Yeah. I had to look. I should look up how much it is. $1 million or $1.5 million for my insurance policy. I'm here if you can pay. They can screw over, someone who can get their money out of PayPal. We have a PayPal business account, not the PayPal personal account. There's a lot more protections on the PayPal business account. It's a very different system. Never heard of Business Visions. So don't know what that is. Could you do a video on SolarWinds Armament best practices, like checks and tasks to do for servers and workstations and how to do the updates? So their practices, like out of the box, work really well for us. I see people like really struggling with this. I'm like, we're using the out of the box system for it, and it works really well. I don't have a lot of complaints with the way it works, so I'm happy with it. Able to understood by accountants. That's why most recommend QB or Zero. Yeah, I think 1 million is pretty. I went with what my insurance guy says he recommended. He's pretty good guy. Seems to make sense to me, so I have it. We've never had a claim in 15 years. I've never had any insurance claims. I had a claim on my house when it caught fire in 2002. That was the last time I had an insurance claim at all. 2002 in a house fire, a small house fire. That was it. Like the hot water tank caught on fire. Small. We put it out. It was minor damage. There's my history of insurance claims, and ever since I've had insurance. I had another claim when I was like 17 when someone ran into my car. That's it. So I've had two claims. I'm an insurance person's dream. I've only had a couple claims in my 20-something years, 25 years of having insurance. Let's see. What else do we have in here? Accountants have to understand things. I understand accounting. I wrote accounting systems when I was in corporate, so I understand double entry accounting. And we don't use Invoice Ninja for accounting, and Invoice Ninja isn't an accounting program. I've talked about this before, and I have a demo on how to use this software. This is what we use for Ledger. This website's ugly. Let's see if they have any. They have the user manual. There we go. The software's ugly. I'm not going to lie. The website is. The software actually looks pretty good. This is the KMyMoney software, and this is a ledger program to reconcile all my bank account stuff. It works really well for doing this. So we manage our bank accounts and everything with this software. I've got a tutorial on how to use it, how we pull in, you can pull in your standard bank account files and everything else. It works really well. And yeah, from what I can tell, there's a party at Lawrence Tech office. No, there is a Zumba in a strip mall going on, and the bleed through the wall is occurring right now. The SolarWinds that you use in the SolarWinds that you use for the corporate is not the same as the SolarWinds that you use for the RMM. They're two different tools, so they're more affordable on the MSP side, and you can actually be a business that doesn't do MSP but use it internally. You can talk to the salespeople, and they have options for you. So there are different tools for that. Because I think some people use it in that way, so it's a little bit different. Yeah, GNU Cache I tried. I like this better. It worked much better than GNU Cache was my feelings on it. It works good for controlling. I don't really use the payee section of it. Mostly I just use it to do my P&L every month. And I don't use Invoice Ninja for that, and I don't need to. The reason why is because we base all of our cash on actuals. Let's talk a little bit about accounting if you guys want to talk about accounting. It's a boring topic, but if you're into the business mindset, yes, you do hear music in the background. I may have to jump off here before the music gets flagged by YouTube and blocked because of some stupid algorithm. So sorry about the music in the background. But with my multiple income sources, so we have money coming in from multiple sources. We have money coming in from YouTube, from affiliate links, from things. I don't create invoices to account for that money. That's why all of our money is done on a cash basis. And what that means is I take the income from what was deposited in the bank and break it down into its categories. So I may send out an invoice. We're also doing things on actuals, not accruals, actuals/cash accounting. And what that means is I don't recognize revenue when I sent you a bill for an amount. I recognize revenue upon payment of bill. So by doing that, you then only need to download the bank account to create the ledgers. So my income for any given month is the amount of money that came into my business, and the money that came in lines up in the ledger. I pull it in to key my money from a bank download, and that's my income for the month. My expenses for the month, well, there's all the random expenses, and they go into all the aligned categories, and that's how I produce my P&L. So yeah, it's a pretty slick system. It works really well. I have years of accounting in here, and it's been great because if I ever want to mess with my numbers any, their reporting system, their import and export systems are really nice. I can manipulate the money in any way I want. I can even push it all out to SQL if I ever wanted to, and then build it out somewhere. So if I ever wanted to integrate to something else or do more manipulation through SQL, it supports that as a back end on here. So yeah, play static noise in there. Yeah, cash basis versus accrual basis on there. You can do some more Googling on that and things like that. Which version of PayPal do you have? I couldn't figure out how to get PayPal to work with Invoice Ninja. If you set up the business level account with it, it works. If you don't have the business account, it's more of a challenge to get it set up and things like that. So, but yeah, so this is the accounting software we use. And of course, the last couple things I'll cover is I do have to run because I got to go deliver a server to a client. The last couple things is, of course, we're using Slack for communication. I just know that because I heard my Slack message go off. So Slack for communications internally, and I don't know. Probably some other software I can't remember. I don't know. Do you guys have questions about this? I think KMyMoney will import that. Yes, I know that there are government regulations for accrual accounting. There are here in the U.S., but there's different guidelines. It's not just revenue amounts; it's the way you handle and report income, and it also depends on shares and company type. I'm privately held, so I don't really have to deal with it. If you're publicly held at all, or you go to the larger model S corp, you have to do accrual accounting. I'm just standard S corp, so it's not a big deal. Matter of fact, some people, to avoid some of those problems, they split their company off into different pieces. So that's one of those ways that you can kind of game the system and get around it. Like, for example, if all the YouTube and affiliate revenue push it up, well, that's technically under a different NAICS code, so I could move that over to its own company, and then I own both companies. And I'm not trying to skirt regulations. You're just trying to, accrual doesn't work well for small business. We had to do accrual when I worked in corporate. We were a tier 1 supplier in the automotive industry. We did about $36 million, $40 million a year in business. You base a lot of your stuff on accrual revenue because there's always a float of what people owe you and things like that. So you kind of have to do your revenue predictions like that. So yeah, it comes completely different here. Once you leave the U.S., I know there's an entirely other set of laws, and nothing I say about accounting may apply to outside the U.S. I only know U.S. laws because it happens to be where I'm based. So that's a whole other thing there. Well, I think that's it. I'm going to wrap this up because, like I said, I got to go deliver the server. I got to go do things. Business Law 101. I hire a good accountant. If you do say, screw what you said, Tom, I don't care, I want to start a business, my first tip is get a good accountant. Go watch my video I just published on some of my 7 questions about my business. Get an accountant. Seriously. Wonderful thing. No regrets about having an accountant. I know it's not cheap. I pay a monthly fee for my accounting, and I look at it as whatever. I pay it. I'm happy. They charge me, I think, a fair fee. It's the same way I'm trying to pitch people managed services and why you want someone to watch your stuff. I want someone watching my books. And that's important. Monitors, I have no idea. These are Asus. I'm not a hardware geek. Sorry, that maybe knocks my geek cred down a little bit. People ask me, like, what's the latest video card? I don't play video games, so I don't know. I don't know anything about this. yeah. If you ask me about servers and Linux and things like that, I'm way more into it than I am other stuff. So yeah, that's definitely way more my thing here. Yeah, have a good CPA, even when you're starting out. Have them file all the incorporation papers and do it right. I know there's all these register online for $29.95 deals, but I'm going to say no. Don't. That may not be good for you. You may find yourself in trouble, and you didn't even know there was trouble there because the laws are stupid and complicated. Focusing a little bit on the stupid sometimes when you read them. There's a reason for accountants. There's a reason LawrenceSystems complicated. It's so they have a business. Because if we flat rated everything and made it simple, what would we need accountants for? All right. Well, thanks. Awesome. Love having all of you here. We're still working on the t-shirt shop. Kyle has started drawing stuff because he's actually a good artist and we're making things. But yeah, that's it's been on a to-do list. But I'll laugh because I'm going to drag something over here to show what Kyle was doing today because it wasn't that. One of those funny things about Invoice Ninja is it lets you do revisions. So this is what Kyle's been stuck doing with a client. This is one of those pain in the butt things that happen, but he just keeps having to revise more and more things over and over again for clients. So that's, yeah. I got to do some more quoting on how the quoting works in Invoice Ninja. It's actually really slick because you can do so many revisions, and when you have clients that are like that, it's not too client, but yeah. So yeah, HIPAA, no one sticks with it. You're right. Good luck on that. I wish everyone luck. Yeah. All right, thanks. Awesome. Pleasure. Time to go deliver a server. More videos coming. I shot a really good video that I completely screwed up, so I got to go do that one again. But it's not happening today, and that's it. Thanks.